This talk is in IRB. No fancy slides, but my talk is about attribute accessible. Since the last Rails drama, we all know attribute accessible is good, but sometimes not. It says true, so yeah, that's good. There we go. Here we have a user model, and as of the latest Rails, attribute accessible is directly generated. Actually, for all the attributes, so admin would be here as well. But we only need attribute accessible for name. And this is good because it prevents us from this kind of code. Or actually, this one will work. This one will not work, which is good. And that's all because we're dealing with submitted content. But of course, there's a lot of code in your application that's probably not dealing with submitted content. So when you're working on a console, stuff fails. You can bypass it, or actually you can say, well, if we're only dealing with user input, we'll define a specific rule for that. And we call it user input. And now we explicitly define in the controller that there's a specific role which handles potentially malicious user input. And that's good. And this one, it won't work. Admin true. So stuff works. But the question is the console or any other code that is not dealing with submitted user submitted code, submitted data, is it any better? Well, now we have to explicitly define a role. So user.new doesn't work anymore. We have to say, we have to give it some role. Or we can say, well, without protection, true. So all the other code is now role aware. And I think that's not a good thing with security. Security is good, especially when it's not stepping in your way. So I wrote two attribute accessibility, which is hard to pronounce, but it works something like this. You can say, well, for the role admin, as you can see over here, admin can do anything. So it's like the previous slide where you say without protection. So it's not that good, it's not so much better. But when we say, well, the default role, that one can do everything. And then we're back to mass assignment, and we don't have to be role aware. And in the controller, we are role aware by specifically naming the role that is handling the user input. That's it.